pot of coffee, fill my cup, pack a bowl and spark it up. Take a bike out to the rock, swim until my legs are shot. These are the days.
Aloha from Hall Adventures. So we're back. Sorry, I'm just walking the dog once again. Oh, he's doing his business. We'll turn this way so no one, give him some privacy. So yeah, we're back. It's been a few weeks since the last video and got a few updates. We made mistakes. So in this trip, we made mistakes. We gave ourselves a 2.5 months window to get the stuff ready for our dog to travel to Hawaii, but we made some errors. And I'm going to go over those real quick because I don't know if they're a common error or just we read things wrong. When you're planning on taking a pet to Hawaii, you get a checklist. Checklist shows times and things that you need in order to avoid your dog going into quarantine when you get on the island. Mainly the rabies. So, hold on, he's finishing here. So the rabies test, you get 2 rabies tests. You have to have 2 rabies tests, and each test has to be ink signed by your veterinarian. Come on, Finn. Has to be ink signed by your, oh, he spun me around. Has to be ink signed by your veterinarian, and then they have to take a special blood test, and that test has to get sent off to a lab somewhere, and then it takes several weeks to get that test done. And we thought that after we got his second rabies shot, we'd be able to send his blood off to the lab immediately, and then within 4 weeks get a result back, which would make it where we would get the results back probably like a week before we actually needed to fly out of the mainland. But after talking to our vet and reading the paperwork a little closer, after the final shot is done, we actually have to wait 30 days before the test can be done, which added a month onto our plan. And then after the test comes back, which could be a variable of 4 to 6 weeks, there's also Hawaii requests you wait 30 days before flying. So that added another month onto our schedule. Unfortunately, we have already have a move-in date for our townhouse on Oahu. So we can't push that. So we have to fly out on that date no matter what. But luckily for us, my wife has to fly back for a business trip around this time anyways. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to leave the dog with our mother-in-law here in San Francisco. We're going to leave the dog here, and then my wife is going to finish doing the vet stuff and the paperwork and bring the dog back later during her business trip, which is kind of a big bummer. Ow. Finn, come on. Which is kind of a big bummer. But she was coming back anyways, and it luckily just kind of timed out, so it won't be that terrible. Secondly, moving our stuff. We kind of like reformatted or replanned this trip multiple times. First, we were going to do a pod, and we were going to do a pod first. And then we found out basically with the pod, it would cost like $5,000 to ship a pod. And we just didn't actually have $5,000 in stuff we were moving. So I didn't want to spend more money than the value of our stuff just to move our stuff. So secondly, we thought, okay, well, since we have such small amount of stuff now, after downsizing that, we'll just ship everything via UPS or USPS. We'll just pack up 6 or 7 boxes and just pay to have those shipped, which would have worked. It would just cost us a good amount of money to do that. But what my wife figured out is that with most airlines, you can actually pack plastic crates, like, you know, the plastic storage crates that you probably put like your decorations in during the off season, you know, plastic bins from Home Depot. You can get some of those that fit the size requirements for the airline, and you can each person can take 2 of them. So what we decided, we only had like 6 boxes anyways, and there's 3 of us flying. That gives us 2 large totes per person. So we're actually just going to pack those totes, pay the baggage fee, which is like $30 a tote, which would come out to $60 a person, which is way lower than shipping via like USPS or whatnot. So we're just going to ship stuff with those crates. That's the plan. So we've been packing it up and downsizing our stuff, and I think we're actually going to have more than we need to take because we don't actually have a lot of stuff anymore. So that's kind of the quick update where we're at. Dog's got all his shots at least, so we're just waiting for the test to come back. And yeah, so we'll make another update in a few weeks and see where we're at and see mainly where he's at. He's the last step of the puzzle, the last piece of the puzzle. So we'll check you back later. For people wondering, these are the totes I was talking about the airlines will allow you to take. Now, these ones are the 17-gallon ones, mainly because people online said that most airlines will accept the, I think it's 27-gallon. But when we did the math for the height, the width, and everything, it was 1 inch over what Hawaii Airlines say they accept, and we wanted to be safe, so we just went ahead and got the 17-gallon, which between me, my wife, my daughter, we each can take 2 of these. You know, you have to pay $30 a piece for them, but so we bought several, and we've already packed these 2. So we're going to take 2 of these, and then take 2 more. And then that will be all our personal stuff as far as our books, our papers, and some other stuff. So if you're wondering if you're going to fly and you're moving and you need to bring some stuff, you can bring 2 of these per person. So if you have 4 or 5 people in your group, you could each bring 2 of these and move quite a bit of stuff. Just want to show you those. But yeah, and you zip tie these things down too. So they got little holes right there, so you can zip tie it, and just make sure that you supply extra zip ties to the top, so if a customs or a TSA has to open it, they can actually open it and then re-put zip ties back on it for you, so you don't lose your stuff on the tarmac.